1, 2, 3.
Hello everyone, we are from Group 3 in T5.
My name is Pei.
My name is Tizing.
My name is Jiaxing.
My name is Nazwa. So today we want to talk about the evolution of the Malaysian legal system before and after the reception of English law. So Malaysian legal system has undergone long and complex evolution in the journey of developing their own legal systems, including indigenous customs, religious influences, and colonial intervention. Before the arrival of English law, legal authority in the Malay Peninsula was grounded in the established framework combining Malay customary laws, adat, and Islamic law Sharia. Both of them play an essential role in disputes resolution, governance, and social regulation. The adoption of English law, which occurred under colonial rule by the British, introduced a profound shift in the legal history of the country. They gradually introduced common law, new court structure, and modernization of law concept, which have led to the restructuring of the administration of justice in Malaysia. Despite the centralizing effect of English law, Malaysia today continues to operate within a legally pluralistic framework, and understanding, therefore, of the historical evolution of Malaysian law is essential. It helps to explain how these legal systems interact and conflict with each other in Malaysia's current constitutional framework. Right now, I will pass the presentation to Jiaxing, who will talk about the structure of the legal system.
My name is Jiaxing. So now I would like to present the governance and legal structure in the Malay state. So before the arrival of English law, the Malay state operated under a highly centralized legal system centered on the Sultan. His authorities was delivered to come from Daulat, a combination of divine blessing, traditional legitimacy, and hereditary right. Because of this, the Sultan was regarded as the ultimate source of justice. He had final authorities over judicial, administrative, and legislative matters. And his Pita or royal command carried the force of the law. Although the Sultan held supreme power, the day-to-day administration of justice was carried out by a structured hierarchy of officials. The Bendahara acted as the chief minister and often handled major disputes. The Temenggung oversaw policing, internal security, and criminal justice. The Penghulu Bendahari managed finance and taxation, while the Laksamana commanded the armed force and played a diplomatic role. The Shahbandar regulated trade and foreign merchants, especially in Malacca, where 4 Shahbandar were appointed. Finally, the Qadi administrated Islamic law, particularly in matters of marriage, divorce, and inheritance. Together, this structure ensured that justice was delivered from the village level up to the royal court. So now, I will pass the floor to Pei to talk about the source of law before English influence.
Right now, I would like to talk about the sources of law before English influence. The legal system before English influence was shaped by 4 main sources, which are adat customary law, Islamic law, hukum syara, legal codes, and Sultan Dicta. Adat or customary law formed the foundation of Malaysian legal system. It governs social relations, land, inheritance, and community obligations. There were 2 major forms, which are adat Temenggung and adat Pepatih. Firstly, adat Temenggung was patriarchal and hierarchical. It placed strong emphasis on discipline, responsibility, and punishment, and offences are usually dealt with through compensation or penalties. For adat Pepatih, it was matrilineal and consensus-based. Disputes were resolved through discussion and consensus rather than strict punishment. This made adat Pepatih more communal and cooperative in character. As adat was voluntary or rule, it remained flexible and adaptable to local needs. Moving on to Islamic law, hukum syara, it became increasingly influential from the 12th to 15th centuries as Islam spread through trade and the rise of Muslim tribunals. It provides clearer rules in areas like family law, inheritance, contracts, and morality. Islamic law was mainly administered by the Qadi, who handled Muslim personal law, especially family and inheritance disputes. His role gave official recognition without the administration. Importantly, Islamic law did not replace adat. Instead, both systems blended to form a hybrid Malay Islamic legal culture. This feature is most clearly seen in the Hukum Melaka and the Undang-Undang Melaka, which combine Islamic principles with Malay customs. Hukum Melaka contains Islamic principles on family law, offences, audits, and trade, while also preserving Malay customs. Undang-Undang Melaka govern maritime matters such as navigation, trade, and ship discipline. Later regional courts such as Pahang and Kanaros continue this tradition by adapting Melaka's legal principles to local context. Finally, the Sultan's Kitab served as an authoritative source of law. This command covered taxation, crime, land, trade, and royal household matters, and were reinforced by the belief in Sultan's Dalat. In conclusion, these sources created a distinctly Malay legal system that balanced tradition, religion, and Malay authority. That's all from me. Right now, I would like to hand over to Jia Shen, who will talk about the transformation of the Malaysian legal system.
Next, I will be discussing about the reception of English law transformed the Malaysian legal system. The reception of English law transformed the Malaysian legal system by changing it from informal and customary system into a formal institutionalized system governed by law. Before British colonization, law in Malaya was administered by the Sultan and his officials. According to adat, Islamic law and customs such as those found in Hukum Kanun Melaka. There were no formal courts, no feast procedures, and no binding precedents, resulting in inconsistency and uncertainty. This changed with the Charter of Justice 1807, which established the Court of Judicature of Penang. For the first time, justice was administered by judges through formal courts using structured procedures. English common law and rules of equity were introduced together with the doctrine of stare decisis, making the law more consistent and predictable in decision making. After independence of Malaysia, the Civil Law Act 1956 regulated the application of English law. English law could only be applied when there was a lacuna, meaning a gap in local law. When there is absence of local law to that particular issue, English law is applicable. This ensures that English law plays a supplementary role, not dominant one. And the second is subject to cut-off debt. It can prevent Malaysian courts from automatically applying development in English law after certain debts. Thirdly is English law is applicable if the local circumstances and their respective inhabitants permit, and subject to such qualification as the local circumstances render necessary. And Section 5 of the Civil Law Act 1956 allows Malaysian courts to apply English commercial laws. This transformed the legal system by introducing modern commercial principles that facilitate trade, commerce, and economic development. And the last is Section 6 of CLA 1956 provides for the application of English land law. Section 6 helps resolve early land disputes while encouraging the development of comprehensive local land law system. In conclusion, the reception of English law has already transformed our legal system and developed our legal system. We are protected by clear, fair, and forced law. Thus, we must appreciate the legal system we have today. I will hand over to Najwa to talk about the potential of legal issue.
Hi, I am Najwa, and I'm going to present the part customary rights in modern legal system. So my first point is Aboriginal customary land rights. Indigenous community have a strong connection to their ancestral lands, which they have traditionally occupied and managed for generations. However, recognition of these land rights varies across different countries, and in many cases, these customary rights often clash with foreign state laws. One of the main challenges faced by this community is proving historical occupation and communal ownership, especially in legal contexts. Moreover, their ancestral lands are increasingly at risk of exploitation due to modern development projects and modernization efforts, which can threaten both their cultural heritage and livelihoods. To sum up, ancestral lands are the heart of indigenous communities, culture and way of life. But inconsistent recognition, legal hurdles and modern development put this land and their heritage at risk, showing why it's so important to protect their rights. So for my second point is native customary rights and CR. In Malaysia, native customary rights are legally recognized under provisions such as the Sarawak Land Code and the Sabah Land Ordinance. These rights include ancestral, communal and property ownership of land by indigenous communities. However, one of the key challenges is proving continuous customary practice in court, as legal recognition requires evidence that this custom has been consistently observed over time. Conflicts often arise between customary law and statutory law, particularly in cases of land acquisition of development projects. Landmark cases such as Padang Bekau and the Temuan cases highlight this tension and the difficulties indigenous communities face in asserting their rights within the modern legal framework. In short, Malaysian law recognizes native customary rights, but indigenous communities will face challenging proving their custom and dealing with conflicts between customary and statutory law, highlighting the ongoing need to protect both their rights and cultural heritage. That's all from my part. I will pass the floor to Jason for the conclusion.
So, in conclusion, the Malaysian legal system has evolved through a long historical process influenced by both local tradition and British colonial rule. Before the introduction of English law, Malaya relied mainly on Malay customary law or adat and Islamic law. This law governs social conduct, family matters, land issue, and local administration, and were closely linked to Malay culture and religious values. During British rule, English law were introduced, bringing common law principle, formal court system, and written legislation. Laws such as the Civil Law Act 1956 allowed English law to be applied where suitable, while court decision helped clarify its relationship with local custom. This contributed to the modernization and greater consistency of the legal system. Today, Malaysia continues to operate a plural legal system where civil law, Sharia law, and customary law coexist. Although this can create legal challenges, particularly in areas such as family law, land rights, and jurisdiction, it reflects Malaysia's unique legal identity. Understanding this historical development helps us better appreciate the strength and complexity of Malaysia's modern legal system. That's all